that it's much easier to fool someone than to convince them they're being fooled.
Mm.
Welcome to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we ask people to do the footwork in their lives, however, don't definitively design the results. And that's where we end up in anxiety, resentment, disappointment, and frustration. So, what we're asking people to do is invent themselves. We're not looking to help people find themselves. We're looking to help people create themselves. And the only entrance fee to this podcast is the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. We're going to ask you to take your blinders off of your expert's mind and adopt that wonder and awe of a beginner's mind. Hi, I'm Jim Ellermeyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist, and today I'm joined by my good friend, co-host, and producer of this program, Mr. Mike.
Hello, Jim. Good to be back with you once again.
That's always good. Mike, we're going to talk about how media manipulates people into making purchases and adopting unwanted identities. What's your thoughts on that?
When you talk about the unwanted purchases and such, I always think about the beauty commercials.
Okay. So media plays a significant role in shaping consumer behavior and personal identities. Through a number of techniques and platforms, media can subtly or overtly influence individuals into making purchases they might not otherwise consider, or adopt identities and lifestyles that they may not align with their true desires, Mike. So some of the mechanisms of media manipulation are some advertising techniques such as emotional appeal, tapping into the feelings of unhappiness, fear, insecurity, or belonging to drive purchases. So what we do is we want to make someone feel less than. We want to make some feel that they're not part of the crowd or not part of the cool kids unless they have this particular purchase.
This throws me back to the 80s when there's the Nintendo Power Glove, right? It was actually a controller that didn't really work very well, but it was like a controller on your hand, and they had it in the movie The Wizard, and they had the commercial with the kid with the cool glasses and the denim jacket. And didn't you just want to be that kid and have the Power Glove, right?
That leads us into our next media manipulation technique, which is celebrity endorsements. We use famous personalities to create associations with products. And I would probably think, Mike, that really and truly, most of these people are only doing this for monetary reasons.
Yeah, it's I think it's very seldom that somebody's like super believes in our product behind that financial goal, right?
But sure. So then another thing is fear of missing out, developing a sense of scarcity and urgency. This is a limited time offer. We only have 4 left.
Sunday. Don't miss the action.
Yes, fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
And we often have that. The sense of urgency, sometimes some experiments are done by going into a grocery store and bringing in 5 or 6 or 7 people with you, and we're all around the oranges in a produce section. And we all start picking out oranges and putting them into bags. And if 7 or 8 of us are around there, other people will develop that sense of urgency and think that they have to purchase oranges also.
Right.
So, social proof and influence culture. Mike, what do you think about this influence culture?
Social proof and influence culture. We're talking about the online. We're talking about the social media. You know, it feels more direct because somebody's looking directly in the camera on your phone and talking more realistically. This is something, it's more accessible to become an influencer to a certain point because you just need a personality in a phone to do it. Which everybody has in their pocket at this point. It seems to be the more direct to consumer, if you will.
Directly, yes. So what they do is they showcase trends by highlighting what's popular, or this is a term that's been since the media's became so prevalent, is viral. This is a viral video to encourage conformity. You don't want to be left out.
No.
You don't want to be you want to be part of the cool kids. You want to be part of the culture. So generally, what that involves is a lack of critical thinking skills.
Mm-hmm.
It involves ignorance, which is not stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lack of knowledge, and then idolatry. We idol billionaires are idolized today.
Mm-hmm.
Star athletes are idolized today. Uh, Singers and performers and artists. I mean, there's some really wonderful, generous people out there. I could think of Taylor Swift to be one of them. Seems to be a very kind, generous, kind person. But if she walks down the street and picks up a brown bag, everybody's going to want that brown bag that's up laying on the street.
Yeah, and that becomes a little bit obsessive. Actually, it's been interesting because some of these influencers have had trouble that they're not even going out in the public anymore because they're so concerned with how people react to them now.
Yes, they do. I've seen a lot of these YouTubers that have become famous, and they actually have to have bodyguards with them.
Like a lot of them don't have the infrastructure you get when you come up in like Hollywood, right? There's kind of a you need to do this, and you get a certain level of fame, and like there's people that like know the next steps, right? Whereas if you're just a YouTuber, this is kind of a new thing, so they're kind of like learning how to react, and sometimes they're just kids and then they've been thrust upon millions of eyeballs, right?
Yes.
And what does that do to them on top of things?
So we live in such an invasive media culture that I always tell people they always try to stay under the radar. They don't want people to know about them. And generally what I tell them, Mike, is if you own a smartphone, everything is known about you, whether it's on or off. So we call that targeted personalization.
Yeah.
Data-driven advertising, using online behavior and personal data to deliver tailored ads. So data miners. Could you explain a little bit perhaps about people who don't understand what that is?
A data miner in particular.
Yes.
So that's a data miner is going to purchase giant swaths of data about users. Let's say you're a Facebook user, and as you use Facebook, it learns more about you. If you go in and without having given anything, it will tell you, it will potentially tell you what religion it thinks you are and what political spectrum it thinks you're on, amongst other details about you, based on how you behave and what you say and what you like and what you share on the platform. So the data miners will take that and then target more ads or give you phone calls or flyers or anything of the sort. The idea with Facebook especially is, and Google ads, is it follows you across. I will see the same ad across multiple websites that have nothing to do with each other except they're on the same ad platform. So that's how that follows you, and you get to see more versus when you look at television. Again, I see it day to day as I go to the gym, and I see it's the only time I see general television, and it's just a wide swath of the same face cream commercial, the same the same medical medicine commercials, prescription drugs, things like that, and it's just they're hitting you constant with that, but it's for everybody. I'm sitting there watching a feminine hygiene commercial. Did not exactly target towards me, but allegedly it's the multitude of people that watch that programming at that time of day.
So you're talking about algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms, the things that follow you, things that tailor the content towards you, but then also the ads are coming with that. And then as you go through, it's kind of becomes hard to know what's the ad and what isn't. They're marked in a lot of cases, but it also takes me a second watching something and then look down. It's like, oh, right, this is an ad, or this is a purchase thing or something like that if they're done well.
Oh, hi, Jim Ellermeyer back again from Fishing Without Bait. And as we offer and express transparency, this is a shameless plug for a book that we are selling. This is a 365-day calendar where we have a Zen type of picture to draw with a caption, and then we ask some thoughtful questions that people can answer, such as, what are your general thoughts about the quote? What is the morning thought in the morning? What is your evening thought? And what will you do tomorrow to spread kindness? Okay? And the beauty of this is that it's not numbered. You can pick any page out. It's not numbered. You can pick any day out and pick any quote out you want, or not. So what we're doing, we're asking people to use this as some type of a mindfulness activity to start their day. When we start our day, not trying to race through the day or with anxiety, but rather maybe some introspective self-talk, some internal validation. And what we're doing here is this. Also, what we'd like to do, we're going to be offering some Patreon material, maybe some behind the themes things, or some of the podcasts that we've done where we take a deeper dive. And we'd like to get your thoughts on that. What would you like to see? Are there any podcasts that we've done where you would like us to do a deeper dive? So you can please contact the show, and we'd be glad to explore that. And as always, we're looking for stories of recovery. Everybody's in recovery from something. We like to know how you got here from there. And please be good to yourself. And yes, this is a shameless plug. Sure. So what they do is they set unrealistic standards also, portraying idealized bodies, lifestyles, or achievements as the norm.
Or especially now, I find I get targeted ads for ADHD testing and Resolve and cortisol. I get hey, you're over 40. You should do Tai Chi is the latest one that I've been getting. It very interesting. Hey, you should work on your dad bod with this special workout. It's been really interesting with those kinds of things.
I kind of thought I was the only one that was getting all of these Tai Chi come-ons.
Are you getting the guy with the muscle guy with no shirt on and is talking to some lady about their dad?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other part up.
They don't have to go on diets.
No.
All they have to do is participate in Tai Chi.
Always a pill, always something so simple. Yep.
Right. So promoting ideas through the products, suggesting that purchasing certain items will result in social acceptance, status, or happiness. Like the most interesting man in the world drinks this type of beer, or whatever type of clothes or whatever that you have to have. And the sad thing about this, Mike, is it invokes comparison, particularly with adolescents and teenagers in schools.
Yeah, especially you talking about the influencer situation. It's people around their same age are like, why can't I be as cool as that person? And start behaving that way.
Right, and then people begin to look down on other people because perhaps they don't have the type. I remember, particularly not too terribly long ago, everything moves so quickly, that the Stanley water jugs were all the fad, okay, and the Stanley lunch boxes. And I'm thinking to myself, in the 40s and 50s, steel workers used to take the Stanley to work because they were so rough and rugged.
And I don't know the source of that, and somebody online is probably going to correct me, but I know that's like something I hear from my friends. Like, we get swag from so many events, like, oh, that's a Stanley. I'm just like, okay, I don't know why that's important. I really don't know why that's important.
Well, that's already
that's
already the shiny star is off. The glow has gone off that bulb.
Gotcha.
Yes. So it also helps in the process of shaping unwanted identities. It imposes stereotypes. Okay, to associate certain products with specific roles, genders, and lifestyles.
Right.
And it also fosters insecurity. Like if you don't have this yoga mat, and if you don't eat in this certain restaurant, or if you don't listen to this certain music, or if you don't follow this certain influencer, then you have an identity. And I like to talk about that first step in 12-step recovery. I think comes into play right here, where the first step says admitting you're powerless over whatever your addiction. And as we've discussed many times, everybody's in recovery from something. Yeah. But the second part of that step is the most important. Admitting that you're powerless over whatever addiction it is and your life's become unmanageable. Now, most people associate unmanageability of their lives, Mike, with ruined finances, relationships, trouble with the law, health issues, trouble with work, those relationship issues, those type of things. When the unmanageability of really addiction is, everybody's in recovery from something, is losing who you are. It's losing who you are. It's losing your identity. And sometimes we try to reform and find our identities through social media. And what it does is it encourages imitation. Encourages imitation. So some of the consequences of media manipulation, Mike, are increased consumer debt and materialism. The credit card debt in this country is absolutely and completely out of control. I just read a statistic the other day that said how many people actually a $400 emergency would put them almost into bankruptcy. Because we have so much consumer debt, the student loan crisis that's going on, heightened anxiety, insecurity, and mental health concerns. The fear of financial insecurity, I don't think has ever been greater in this country.
No, absolutely not.
So that's some of the things. So what do we want to do, Mike, to counteract this media influence? What are some of your thoughts?
Well, one for the media influence is to kind of, I think get a little bit of your prescription at the end to turn off your TV, unplug it for a little bit, but also you need to kind of delete some apps on your phone, perhaps, right? We've talked about before about, hanging on some of these apps, and they're great for communication, but also realize like what is happening. If you're not paying for it, you are the product. For instance, we talk about Facebook and so many of the other apps like it that you're using for chat and things like that. It's going to be, kind of be an awareness would help amongst other things about what that's about.
Well said, Mike. So what you're talking about is developing a media literacy.
Yes.
To be able to critically evaluate messages, not accept them at face value. So one of the things that we talk about, and recently it's been around, it brought to my attention, is that it's much easier to fool someone than to convince them they're being fooled. Nobody wants to convince that they're being fooled. Nobody wants to admit that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the reasons that scammers are so effective, because nobody wants to admit that they've been scammed.
Absolutely.
So it's easy to fool them. So when we develop these critical thinking skills, being able to look at something rather than from it, okay? When we want to use this prefrontal cortex logic part of our mind, which we would call a wise mind, and understanding, is this an emotional mind choice? Is this an emotional mind decision? Or is this a wise mind choice? Which brings up that 5-minute rule that we've talked about many times. Before we press that button, before we make that purchase, before we buy that thing, wait 5 minutes. And the urge is never as strong. Okay? So, in conclusion for tonight, the media possesses powerful tools to influence what people buy and what they believe that they should. And understanding that these mechanisms, and understanding that we are being manipulated. So we'll kind of end this, what we talk about when we feel times of uncertainty. We take that brief pause and we ask ourselves, let's check the facts. What do I know for sure? And let's deal with what's right in front of us. Because most people, Mike, make choices on beliefs and not facts. Let's check the facts, Mike. What do we know for sure? Let's deal with what's right in front of us. So as we close this podcast out, we offer a free prescription, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Please do a kindness for another. Please do a kindness for yourself. Please forgive another, and please forgive yourself. If you have a choice between being right and being kind, choose being kind and you'll be right every time. If we're all not God's children, none of us are. Please forgive yourself. Please spread some kindness into the world, and don't be so quick to judge. What we always say at the end of every podcast is that you're important and to be good to yourself, and what's good for you is good for everyone. Adios, my friends. Namaste.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast.
If you're interested in
flying the colors of fishing without bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.